Alright, what is going on, guys? Coach Joe here at the Lions Den. Got a special treat for you as I will be heading out for a ton of collabs in the future, so sometimes it's tough to get content out. However, I've recruited my main man here at the Lions Den, Coach Matt Molloy, aka It's Your Boy Matt Molloy, who's got a good YouTube and Instagram that you are definitely going to want to check out. Making big waves as a coach here, programming top notch, and he's also going to USS Strongman Nationals. Very pumped and proud of this guy. And moving forward, we're going to be releasing some really awesome programs you want to be on the lookout for. However, when it comes to 2019, you guys are going to get your pen and paper ready because Matt's going to be diving into some top tips to make you stronger for this year.
What is up, guys? Coach Matt here, back on the channel again. Once again, thank you so much to Joey for having me on the channel. I really do appreciate it, and I do love being on the channel. And today, Joey wanted me to talk to you guys about programming. So that's exactly what we're gonna do here, so let's get to it. So being completely honest, at first I wasn't sure about how I was gonna do this video. You know, every programming video ever is basically 20 minutes to an hour long of some dude talking in front of a whiteboard, and I just didn't have it in my heart to place down a flash drive with an hour-long video file on Joey's desk.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up?
You just my office?
So what we're gonna do is condense down way too much information into an 8-minute video.
Liar!
And yeah, it's gonna be great. Gonna be oversimplifying things way too much. It's gonna be great. Think of this as more of an emotional pep talk for programming than, you know, that actual informational video. I'm gonna give you the main points you need to be worrying about when programming, but the rest is on you guys. You are unfortunately gonna have to, you know, sit through those 20 minutes to an hour-long video of some guy sitting in front of a whiteboard. It's just not gonna be this guy. And I already wasted too much time on this intro to make it 8 minutes, so let's get right to it. Okay, running right up at the forefront of everything is specificity. Obviously, if a program that you are running is not specific to your goals, it's not gonna work. Mind-blowing stuff, right? So if you're a powerlifter, you're worried about squat, bench, and deadlift. If you're a weightlifter, you're worried about the snatch and the clean and jerk. And if you're a strongman, you are worried about whatever those 5 events you have coming at you for your next competition. Now, we'll concede that strongman is a bit of an outlier to this. You do have to kind of progress your raw strength in the barbell movements and then progress your skills with the implements, but let's not get into that right now. We're doing this in 8 minutes, so focus. And then for those of you that are not competitive currently, or you don't have any aspirations to compete in anything, you're just looking to focus in on a specific goal. So strength training, hypertrophy training, endurance, power, athletics, whatever it may be, pick one goal and focus in on it. So I'm gonna take the time now to sidetrack and say, do not be the guy that is trying to accomplish like 4 different goals with a single program. You are not gonna become a competitive powerlifter and a pro bodybuilder running one single program. You are not Larry Wheels. Take the time, say it with me. I am not Larry Wheels. All right, good. All right, so we got that out of the way early. It's good. Once you have those movements that are specific to your goals, those are gonna be your bread and butter movements. Those are gonna be the ones you are worried about the most, spending your time, energy, and focus on the most, and then everything else comes second to those. Build your program around these main movements. You've seen it before with any sort of powerlifting programming. You know, the bench and squat, deadlift will show up as the main movements for the programming. Same thing for ollie lifters, and again, strongman, we're just weird, so yeah. Anything accessory-wise or variation-wise that you're gonna put in your programming on top of these main movements should have 2 goals in mind. They should, 1, be a close variation. So say we have a squat, you know, close variations would be pause squat, pin squat, tempo squat, whatever you want. Or there's something that's going to directly help those movements. So, you know, we've got assistance work, RDLs for hamstrings, Bulgarian split squats, for quads, stuff like that. So assistance work that is going to directly help your movements. Basically speaking, don't program in snatch if you're trying to be a powerlifter.
8 seconds to. Yeah! Yeah!
Alright, so I think specificity, pretty straightforward, should make sense to everyone. Moving on. Alright, so specificity is kind of your forefront leader for your programming. Your second most important here, and something you're not going to get anywhere without, is progressive overload. Alright, so thankfully progressive overload is not that difficult to understand either. Basically speaking, your program has to have some system in place that it is increasing the amount of stress over time for the program, increasing the workload in some sort of way, and you'll make progress. Really simple to understand, right? And logically makes sense. So I think where people get caught up with progressive overload is that you have so many different options to kind of progressively overload anything. So you can increase the number of sets you are doing, you can increase the number of reps you are doing, you can increase the intensity, the weight that you're doing, you can make something a tempo or make something a harder movement overall. So you've got options for progressive overload, and people kind of get frozen when they see they have so many options.
One hour later.
2 hours later. One eternity later.
To kind of help you get rid of that initial frozen fear, the way that you'll see most every strength program do it is a basic kind of pyramid setup. So the program is going to start with some higher volume, lower intensity at the beginning of the program, and it's going to work its way up to lower volume, higher intensity. Literally every strength program. Really, really easy to do. Start it off with a 5x5 at a lower intensity, move it up to a 4x5, slightly higher intensity, move it up to a 4x4, slightly higher intensity, and so on. And just work it up over a certain number of weeks, and you've got a program with progressive overload. So the only other thing I'll say about progressive overload is you might be seeing people getting weirder with progressive overload, and that's simply because online coaches right now have to make their program look distinctly unique from a whole bunch of other programs that are online right now. The marketplace is saturated, the programs are going to start looking the same, and there's only so much you can do. So don't fall into the trap that you have to make something that looks completely different from everything else. You can keep your progressive overload nice and simple, straightforward, just do that linear, higher volume, lower intensity, up to lower volume, higher intensity, and you'll be good to go. You don't need to do any weird stuff. It's just online coaches trying to sell their programs. So one of the most overarching questions in programming is how to know, the appropriate intensity, how to know what set and rep schemes to set up. And if you don't know how to do this, obviously your progressive overload, one, might not be enough to actually progressively overload yourself or an athlete, or two, and the worst case scenario, is it is too much progressive overload and you end up accidentally killing the client or yourself. Alright, so there's no concrete way to do appropriate intensity, so I'm not going to write out, percentages on a board or RPE on a board and say, this is the only way to do things. I'm going to give you guys some resources, you can go check things out. There are ranges you should be in, but I don't think there's like a correct way to do things per se. As long as you're within certain ranges, you're not going to stress someone out. Some people can take more stress than others, some people can take less stress than others. You're always going to have to work with it a little bit, so I'm going to give you the resources and you can kind of form your own opinions. Two big ones off the top of my head. First one would be Prilipin's table, and this is very useful for strength training. It gives you a good idea of where you want to be for your sets, your reps, and percentages for certain types of strength training. Really solid table. The ranges are, pretty much what everyone uses. If you look at programming and then you look at Prilipin's table, everyone's set rep schemes and intensities basically fall right in line with Prilipin's table. Really good resource to check out, and it'll get you started with kind of understanding appropriate intensity. The other thing to check out would be all the certifications that are around. So for school, I had to learn through the ACSM, American College of Sports Medicine. They have a real nice table that kind of shows rep ranges and intensities for endurance training, strength training, hypertrophy, power. And again, those strength ranges and intensities are all within good ranges. So go check stuff out like that. You don't have to be a member or anything to see their tables. And of course, there are other certifications out there with their own tables. All of them basically look the same. None is going to be more right than the other one. Just go check them out and see what you like. All right, guys, so that's all I'm going to leave you with today. Those are 3 big pieces of programming. Specificity is basically going to rule your program. If it's not specific to your goals, it's not going to work overall. Once you have your specificity laid out, progressive overload is going to be key to actually driving progress. So obviously, if you didn't have progressive overload in place, even if your movements are specific to your goals, you're basically just going to be spinning your wheels and not going anywhere. And then finally, that last little piece there, appropriate intensity ranges. Obviously, if you're doing intensity ranges that are too high, you're at risk for injuring your athlete or just gassing them out mentally. And if the intensity ranges are too low, again, you run into that problem of just spinning your wheels or potentially regressing. So kind of the balance of all 3 of those makes up a program. Once you start reading into it and kind of understanding everything starts to make sense, and programming gets way easier over time. Thanks so much for checking the video out, guys. Thanks so much to Joey for having me on the channel. Hope this kind of solves some of your programming woes. Feel free to shoot me any questions in the comments section below. I'll be around to answer them, and hopefully this has taken away some of your programming stress. Thanks so much, guys, and hope to see you all next time.
Thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate it, my man. And like I said, guys, hopefully you took a pad and paper, wrote some ideas down, kind of implement it into your programming, and really it's going to help you become the strongest you can possibly for 2019. So until then, guys, stay lean, mean, strength machine. Be on the lookout for tons of awesome collaborations in the future, and let's get after it. Peace.